In this video, I'm going to share my content system that is the light version of what I'm usually using, but this one is using Google Sheets and it's built in make.com. So with this system, you can add whatever idea you have, and then you can use this action field to create a blog draft, newsletter draft, LinkedIn post drafts, short video script, and your YouTube video script. So I'll quickly show you how it works. So my idea input is already here, and I have already generated a blog draft that is uploaded to my WordPress, and it looks like this. It still needs some editing, but it's already following all the best practices of being visible in AI searches. So it's starting with the too long didn't read summary, the points are up front, and then it's going through all of the things that actually matter for this topic, and it also adds the placeholders where you need to add images or graphs manually. And it's also linking to research that is fact-checked and fully satisfying the search intent of this topic. And I'll quickly show you how you can then turn the same idea into a newsletter draft. For example, I'll just choose this action here, and once it's done, it's going to appear here. As you can see, it's currently running through the make.com automation. It's doing some research, and now that it's finished, it added the Google Docs link here. So if I open this up, I have the newsletter draft here that I can just copy paste or make some edits before I publish it. And now when I go back, I can still use the same input and now maybe create LinkedIn post drafts. And the same thing will happen here where it goes through the make.com automation, choosing the right route. And then once the automation is done, it's going to add the Google document link here that I can then edit and change. So basically this one idea can be repurposed and turned into 5 different content types: a blog post, a newsletter, LinkedIn post, a short video, and a long form YouTube video. And why this system is so valuable, it's not about the complexity of automation, it's about the prompts that I'm using, because all of these prompts are following the best practices of marketing in 2025 and beyond. So for example, for a blog draft, it goes through this route. So it's creating an outline first, then it gives the research report to the content writing module, and the content writing module outputs the first draft. Then that first draft goes into a fact checker. The fact checker creates another report. Then the fact finder fixes all of the mistakes the initial research got wrong. And then the last content rewriter module is going to rewrite the whole thing using only the correct facts. And then I'm just extracting the title. So I could create the draft in WordPress, and then I'm just updating the original Google Sheet here as well to add the link here. And then based on the action you're choosing, it goes either through the newsletter and creates a separate document in your Google Drive. In the LinkedIn route, it also does additional research, so your topic would be enriched even more and have higher quality. Then the LinkedIn post prompt is actually asking to write 20 different LinkedIn post drafts. And I'm also giving really specific instructions into the style of writing that I want to use. And this is something I have figured out over the months and years even now. And I'm also using my content humanizing prompt that makes the AI outputs sound more like a human. And so they need less edits. And I can show you one output for LinkedIn posts as well. So this is how it looks like. So there are now 20 different LinkedIn post versions based on different formulas and templates, but it's still using my original input and that idea from there. And you can just go ahead and check which one of these sounds like you and which one grabs your attention the most. And you can then just copy it and publish in LinkedIn. And then in make.com, there's also an option to create a short video script for TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn, for example. And there's also a separate research module that finds some new facts that could make the hook of the video possibly more interesting. And same goes for creating the script for YouTube. And as I mentioned before, this is the light version of my 2025 content system. And this is just using Google Sheets, and it's just using text-based outputs. But the logic is still the same. It's using one input, and it easily turns it into different types of content. But let me quickly show you the original content system that I'm using. It looks like this. And if you want to get this one, check out my other video. I'll link it below. And the main difference is that this uses Airtable as the database and as the trigger. It looks like this. It has everything that I need. And here the action fields are also transcribing YouTube videos. I can also do research reports. I can do LinkedIn carousel images, which look like this, and I can download them and add to LinkedIn as well. So there are more options here, and all of the outputs are also stored inside Airtable. So this is why Airtable is my go-to tool. It allows much more than Google Sheets, but lots of people don't want to use Airtable. They don't want to pay the $24 per month that it costs to use this. So that's why I created this light system where it's easier to get started, it's cheaper, you just have to create an account with make.com. I think you can start off with a free account, and you also need to create an account with OpenRouter.ai. This is a new tool I'm now using with every automation in make.com. So basically with this tool, you get access to all of the AI models that are out there, and you can connect them inside make.com like this, where you can add your prompts, and then the model choice is down here. And it's really cool that it also has a fallback feature. So if your preferred model is down for some reason, it chooses another similar one and you can still use your automations. So create an account with make.com. You probably have access to Google Sheets and Google Docs already. In OpenRouter, you have to add some credits, for example, $10, and it should last you a while. If you want to start using this content system or the big one with Airtable and all these other apps and YouTube scraping, then come to my private community, aimarketingmasters.com, and here you can get the automation blueprints, the Airtable base templates, and everything I'm sharing on my channel, but this is the place where you get the shortcuts. Okay, and once you have this make.com blueprint, you just have to open up a new scenario in make.com, and then down here, import blueprint. And then once you add the file here, this whole thing populates with the prompts all included. So let me show you step by step how to set it all up. So it all starts with Google Sheets Watch Changes module. So basically, first you need to create a webhook here. So just add a new one, name it something and save. And so this type of thing opens up, and this URL is really important for you. So you can keep it open for now. And now what you need to do is you have to go to your Google Drive, pick a folder that you plan to use just for this purpose, and then create a Google Sheet in there. And I will share this Google Sheet template with you as well, so you can start using this one. But the one thing you need to do, we now need to trigger this automation. So we have to use this extensions part up here, and here click on the app scripts. And then here you have to add all this code. And this is not something I came up with myself. There is a really good YouTube video from Mason Anderson, and you can check his channel out as well. This was really helpful because there used to be an add-on for make.com and it was way simpler to automate it, but now we only have this script option. So I can't take credit for this one, but I will be using it since it works so well. So thank you, Mason. So once you're here, you have to use this code. And this is also listed here on Mason's channel with a Google document. And I will add this same code to the description as well. And here, just paste everything. And down here, the only thing you need to change is this part, your make.com webhook URL. So delete this part. And then if you go back to make.com, you have to just copy this webhook address to clipboard. Then go back here to apps scripts and paste this webhook URL. And then just save this. Oops, I added too many quotation marks. I'll remove one and let's save it again. Okay, now it's saved. It's using your webhook information. There's one more thing you need to do. So here on the left, go to triggers, and you just have to add a new trigger here. And this last part, select event type on edit and save it. And you probably have to also approve it with your Google account. But once you have done this, the trigger and the code with your webhook URL, you are done with this part, and this Google Sheets automation should work for you. So once you have your webhook URL now set up here, the next step is set multiple variables. This will make finding those dynamic elements a bit easier later. So I added one variable called action, and the value comes from this row data A. So you can see here, the action is block draft. And then the second variable is input ID, and the variable value comes from row B. And we don't need to add more complexity here, so you can just save this. And then we have a router. And what's important here is that we use these filters for every route. And if you click on the filter, the important part is that you add the condition, this newly added variable action, and text operator has to equal to block draft. And this has to be written exactly the same way as you have it here in the action field. So if you make any changes, even capital letters count, then you have to also make sure that your filters are using the exact same version. So this first route is for block draft. The second one is for newsletter draft, and you can see all of the actions are the conditions for the filters. Third one is LinkedIn post drafts. Fourth one is short video script. And the fifth one is video script. And then you just go and set up your OpenRouter account, and you have to add some credits here. And once you have some credits here, you can go to API keys, and here with that API key, you can connect your OpenRouter account with this automation and make.com. And then all of these prompts will be populated automatically. So here the first one is creating an outline. And by the way, if you want to get these prompts, join aimarketingmasters.com. If you don't want to join, then pause the video when I'm showing the prompts and screenshot them, ask AI to transcribe them. So this is a good hack if you want to get the prompts without joining. And for the model, I'm using Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4 with almost every writing task. And the next module is about research. And here I'm adding inputs as the article outline from the last module. And I'm also adding the original input idea here. And here you also have to add your own information. This is for author or company's information. So this makes the outputs way better. So add whatever blog you are creating this content for, your company information, what you're about, who's your target group, what you are selling, call to action to some product pages and stuff like that. And then the rest of the prompt is pretty straightforward. And again, I'm using Claude Sonnet 4, but this time for research. And then the next step is the content writer. This takes the research, the outline, and also here, add your information about your company and you as an author here. You can copy it from the last step as well, or you can make it a little bit different. And then rest of this prompt is pretty much about writing it in a really good way that helps AI searchers to find your content. So this is a new updated strategy. I have covered this topic on my channel as well, why the old SEO strategies don't work anymore. So these prompts are really optimized for the new era of AI searches. And so this is a user prompt, and I'm also using a system prompt, which is my regular content humanizing prompt. Again, I'm using this a lot. So this makes sure that the content is sounding more like a human, so I have to do minimal edits afterwards. And again, the model is Claude Sonnet 4. Now, the next step is going to be a fact checker, because I don't trust the facts of AI and you shouldn't either. So here the inputs that I'm giving to this module are complete article from the last AI writer, and then also the research sources that it used. So I give it instructions to do a fact checking with lots of information. And again, I'm using Claude Sonnet 4. And then with the next module, I'm using a different approach. This is a fact finder. So based on the fact checker's report, everything that was wrong with the facts. And also I'm giving it the original article draft, the first one. So I'm asking it to find more current, more valuable facts based on the fact checker report. But for this model, I'm using Perplexity Sonar Reasoning Pro. And here you have to do one small thing. So by default, it's not mapped. And here this Perplexity model isn't shown by default, so it's only showing these top 20 models. So you have to enable this mapping feature here and then just add this model name exactly as it's written here. And a quick tip if you want to know how to find these model names, so go to openrouter.ai and you can then just search. And here you can see Perplexity Sonar Reasoning Pro. You can copy the model ID. And if you go back here, this is exactly what you get if you paste it here. And then the next module is Content Rewriter. This one now takes the original draft, the fact checkers critique the report, and also the updated facts from the last step. And it now asks it to rewrite the article. And now it's also asking it to output the article in HTML format because we want to push it to WordPress as a draft. And again, here I'm using the content humanizing prompt as the system prompt and Claude Sonnet 4. And then this one small module at the very end is asking it to extract the title, so we could just add it as the WordPress title. And then the next step is to add the WordPress module, create the post. And in the title section, we are using the extracted title. So you have to open up choices, message, and content. So this is how you get the title. And the content part comes from the last Content Rewriter AI module. So again, choices, message, content. And the type I want to create is post, and also the status I'm setting as draft. I don't want to publish anything like this. And then you can also add categories, tags, whatever you need, and then just save it. And then one more step, we need to get the URL of this draft. So then just add the get a post module for WordPress. The type is post, and then the post ID comes from the last module from here. So then just save it. And the very last step is Google Sheets, update the row module. And here you just have to find the exact spreadsheet that you're using. And then you have to add this edited row as the row number. And you get this from this first module. So edited row is down here. And then we want to update this blog draft column here. So for that, we go to this field here and we find the link, the first one here, to add to this blog draft. And then we can just save this. And While you're doing this, save it. You can test it out, or you can just set everything up and test it later. So the next route, then make sure that the filter is set up correctly. Then the newsletter prompt is also asking for your background information to make the outputs better, and it's using your input idea and again the content humanizing prompt. And then I'm using another extract title module that's just for the Google document module here. So here I added this newsletter, and then the title comes from the previous step. And the content is then going to be from this newsletter content module. And here just choose the exact folder where you want to store these files and save. And the last step again is updating a row in Google Sheets. Make sure the row number again is this edited row dynamic element. You get it from down here. And then now this newsletter draft column is going to be updated from the Google Docs module. And here find the web view link. So you can put it into the search. Web view link, and this is the correct one. And then just save. And then with the next routes, it's basically the same. There's a research part, there's a content writing part, and in these modules, you always have to add your own background information to make the outputs better. So make sure you add everything here, and all of the inputs and the research is added inside the prompts already, along with the content humanizing prompt. And then it summarizes the title, so we could use it with the Google Doc again. And here again, make sure that everything is set up as I'm showing here. Of course, your own folders are looking different here. And then the Google Sheets folder is always going to be the last one, where you have to have the exact web view link for Google Docs, so you can have all of the links in the right places in this master document here. So do the same for all of these routes. Make sure that the filters are all correct. So if you get this full system from aimarketingmasters.com, you can also ask my help if you run into some problems, but overall it should be a fairly simple system to set up. If you don't want to push the blog post into WordPress, you can replace these modules with the Google document as well and add that information here. And once you have connected all of your accounts and made sure that everything looks correct, then make sure that you save everything down here and set this automation live. And then you can just go into your master content document and start creating content. So make sure the inputs are really good. Then just use this action field and you should see the content being generated and the automation sends back the link here. And a few tips from how to edit the content. So especially with blog content, you have to add some images and some personal touches. So I recommend not to do AI generated images, but take a photo of yourself, of your team, and use those really personal images here. Also make sure that you're adding internal links to your other content. And there are also some placeholders for graphs and images. You can either do those images manually and add them here, or if you don't have the time for it, just get rid of these placeholders. And of course, always make sure that you're adding your unique personal style. And any type of data that AI doesn't know or doesn't have, always add it to your blog post, enrich it as much as you can.